Good evening, you guys. Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori. And this evening with me, I have Miss Tierra Shaw, who is an author that we're going to be talking with today. I had the pleasure and honor of meeting her this past Monday at the Practical Purpose Solutions, the grand opening, which is the opening of Kendria's Reset Lounge. So if you haven't been to the Reset Lounge yet, make sure you go by there. I had the grand opening was amazing. And while I was there, I met some amazing people, especially this young lady right here. So we're going to be focusing on today. I told her before we went live that we're going to be focusing on a book, but if God has given her a word to release the word, because I was actually watching, I actually met her through the grand opening. And you guys know how I am. I'm big on pushing people and big on spotlighting and promoting people, especially when you're doing something good. And her book was just released. So I want to definitely showcase her book. And I want you guys, encourage you guys to get the book. But before we get into all of that, I want her to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Tierra Shaw. I am the author of Conquer Fear by Faith. I am born and raised right here in the great city of Florence, South Carolina. As far as my occupation, I work within the health information management field where I am currently a release of information specialist. A few things that I like to do is write, as you know, since I wrote a book. Journal. I love to spend time with my family and friends. I love helping others. And most importantly, y'all, I just love Jesus. And that's just a little bit about me.
And let me ask you something. Since you journal, is journaling something that you've always done? Writing, is that something that you've always done?
I think it was something that I just got into gradually. It wasn't something that I just automatically start doing. It just became something more like an outlet for me. So when, I did have free time or I just had a bad day, I just started writing and journaling just to relay my thoughts.
Cool. Do you by chance write poetry? Because the reason when you said you channel your thoughts, the reason why I asked that question, because I myself, I journal and poetry, I write poetry to release my thoughts. And now I haven't written a book yet, but I like to write, and I do write poetry. Poetry allows me to express how I'm feeling, especially when I'm going through things.
Right.
I have the tendency to write things down. So do you write poetry at all? And
I honestly haven't gotten into poetry like that. At least as of yet, I can say.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question. I was actually, of course, we just met, at Kendra's grand opening.
Yes, ma'am.
And one of the things I did, we just became friends on social media, and I
Mhm.
came across a live that you did. So I told you before we went live I was gonna put you on the spot, but
Yes,
I came across a live that you did, and it was called I think it was let what did it get up and live.
get up and live. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
touch base. Give us a little rewind of what you was talking about in that particular live when you said get up and live.
Uh, in that live, yeah, I did a previous live on my page called Get Up and Live. And what really stirred that in my mind was a lot of people, it kind of also goes back into fear once again, but a lot of people allow what they're facing, what they're going through, whether it's on their job, it's their everyday life, it's family. They allow their circumstances or what they're facing just cause them to kind of completely like just shut down. Like, I can't live, I can't do this, I got to stay in the house. That fear or just being afraid or being so stuck on what you're facing that you just have to really just get up and live. And I like to talk about a lot of emotions and things that the enemy will use to cause us to stay down, as far as depression, as far as frustration, stress, anxiety. Those things were literally, I would say, I like to call it, have a hold on us to where we feel like I can't make it, but you can. It's just you really have to get up and live. And I don't like to just speak from more so the natural aspect, but I also like to speak in the sense of the spiritual aspect. Because if we are people of God and we are, in Christ Jesus, we are supposed to be living, we are living testimonies, so we should go about our day, to command our day. That's one of the things that I talk about in that loud, was literally to command your day. If you feel like your job is stressing you out, you feel like what you're going through is just in your mind to the point where you feel like, okay, I'm gonna just have a bad day. You have to get up every day and not just pray, but literally command your days. Say today is gonna be a day of peace. Today is gonna be a day of joy. I'm not gonna be stressed out today. That coworker that was getting on my nerves, they're not gonna bother me today. You literally have to speak it. The Bible tells us that we have power in our tongue. So you literally have to get up every day and speak things not as though they were. So it was really just an encouragement for people to get up and live. I was talking about the song that says you're going to live to see it happen. But the first thing that we got to do is live. I mean, you're going to see it happen, but you have to literally get up and live. You have to live, 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 live. Don't let depression get to you. Don't let anxiety get to you. Don't let people get to you, but you get up and live. And also, even a natural sense. When's the last time you had a self-care day? When's the last time, some of us, we tend to people, but we don't take the time out to cater to ourselves. So we have to go out, take that girl's trip. Whatever it is that you need to do to get up and live and have life more abundantly, you do that, because now it's that's that time and season to live. So get up
Now,
and live.
Now listen, let me tell you something. You appear that you very young. Now, I don't think I was this focused. I'm not gonna even lie, I'll be very transparent. I don't think I was this focused on Jesus when I was your age. So
Mhm.
what made you become so focused and centered on Jesus at such an early age? Is being a follower of Christ something you started early? Because I'm not gonna lie, I love the Lord, but I'm not gonna say
Mhm.
that when I was your age that I was all in like you are. So
Yeah.
what makes you stay so focused? And I'm pretty sure there you probably have peers that try
Mhm.
to distract, have
Yeah.
distractions and get you off track. But what keeps you focused at such a young? Because I'm telling you, I was not there when I was your age.
Yes, ma'am. So ever since I was young, when I was a baby, I grew up in the church. I thank God for my parents, because I have been brought up around family member, but my parents kept me in the church. So as growing up, I won't say what I knew, but I knew about the Lord. I knew about things of the Bible, because that's just how I was raised. Now I'm not saying I got saved just overnight. It was something that God had to deal with me with. And it kind of, a lot of this also ties into my book, because at a young age, going through in school, I believe that I knew that I was set apart. I knew that I was different, but because of peer pressure, because of people, you have your time in the world. But for me, I wanted it for real. I was like, God, I want to know you for real, not based off of, as some people would say, other people's relationship with God. You need to have a relationship for yourself. And that's really my driving point, knowing in this season that God is just not using the old people, but He's also raising up a young generation to serve Him as well. So that's my driving point. I
Oh
just love
wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now,
God.
tell us a little bit about the book. What inspired you to write the book? Tell us the name of the book and what inspired you to write the book, without giving out too many details of the book, because I want you guys to get the book. I got my copy.
Yes.
So I need you guys to get your copy. But tell us what inspired you to write the book.
So once again, the book is called Conquer Fear by Faith. I will go back to maybe January of last year. I was doing a devotional called Provisions of the Journey by Bishop Mark Morris Sr. And as I was doing that devotion, I came across a question that said, if you had unlimited time, space, money, resources, what would you do? Where would you be? Where would you go? So I had a long list of all these things that I was putting down. But out of them all, I put, okay, I want to write a book. I want to be a self-published author. But I believe that next morning, we say things, we write things, but that next morning, I just couldn't get off of it. And I'm like, okay, so why is it still stuck in my head about writing this book? And I just believe that sometimes God lays things on our heart for a reason. It's just not that the desire is there and that's just what I want and that's just it. I believe sometimes God literally places these desires in us for His glory, and so that for His kingdom purpose. And so that next morning, I was like, okay, God, if I'm going to write this book, it has to be in your will. You have to lead me, you have to show me, you have to guide me. And from there, that's literally how it got started, just by reading the devotion and answering the questions. And I believe that God just really gave me that green light to just go forth and do it.
Now what are some of the tips that you can possibly give those that are viewing and watching, and also myself? What are some of the tips or strategies you use in order to conquer your fear by faith? I had to look at the title right quick, make sure I say it right. What are some of the strategies and tools you utilize in order for you to conquer fear by utilizing your faith?
My first and number one point, y'all gonna get tired of me, but it has to be God. You have to keep God at the center. He has to be first. That's my main point. When you want to really get over fear, you have to seek God. You have to trust and believe in him first and most of all. Secondly, I would say be careful of your company, your influence, who you're around. We say check your circle and all these things about people, but I truly believe that you have to be careful of who you center yourself around. Peer pressure is real. That's something. Depending on who you're around, they can very much have a big influence in your life. So you have to be careful of who you're around. Are you around a lot of negative people? Are you around a lot of positive people? Are you having people around you that are pushing you into your purpose? Are people drawing you away from God? Are they pushing you forward in living a better life? So just being careful about your surroundings and have confidence. I know that's something that some of us, me personally, I had to work on, but have confidence, not just in God, but in yourself. Because a lot of times fear and being afraid comes from just having a lack of self confidence and self esteem in yourself. So when you don't have that self confidence and self esteem, sometimes I feel like it causes us to just go for anything. And we know in ourselves that's not me, but we'll still do it because we're not confident.
Now, what do you say to that person that may want to write a book, have the desire to write a book, or maybe they have other dreams as far as starting like a singer, or whatever their dreams may be? What in word of encouragement would you give to give that person to pursue their dreams? Because they may think, well, I'm not capable of doing this, but I have this dream. And like you said, it stayed on you. It was something you wrote down, but it's something that stayed at the forefront of your mind. What would you say to that person that may have a dream but feel as if they're not able to accomplish it?
So you kind of said it as you were speaking. You said they may feel like they can't do it. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can do it. That's the point of the matter. You can do it. I was one when I did my book. We often look at more so the materialistic. Well, who do I need to be connected to? I may not have a lot of money. All these things that we need in order to get it done. But the most important thing that you have to understand is that I always like to say, if God gave you that, if God gave you whatever it is, whether it's a business, a book, he will give you the strength to make sure that it happens. You just have to take the first step and actually work on it, because if you take the first step, I just believe that God is really going to handle the rest. Whether it's money, whether it's the people that you need to get connected to, all of that will come. But you just got to believe that, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, if this is my dream, if this is my desire, I literally have to take time to work on it so that it can get done.
Now, what do you say to those people that, let me ask you this question. When you had when it came to you that you need to write this book,
Yes, ma'am.
did you share it with anyone? Because sometimes you can share your
Okay. Yeah.
vision with people and they'll be like, how are you gonna do this? Do you really think you can do this? Or did you share your vision, or did you start writing stuff down and start doing it on your own? Because a lot of times we have to be careful who we share our vision with. Everybody that says they're happy for us are not really happy for us. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So how
true.
did you handle that when you started really pursuing and writing the book? Did you share your vision with anyone? And did you have some true supporters that was really rocking with you the entire time throughout the process?
I honestly did not share it. It was probably, I didn't start really telling certain people that I knew that I could trust and was really pushing me with it until it was really almost finished and about to be released. I really kept it as a moment between me and God, because in that moment, I always talk about I like to be led by the Spirit. So in order for me to really make sure that this is God ordained and this is what He wants me to do, I literally made sure that I let out the negative influence. Because like you said, when you start telling other people, everybody is not happy for you. Everybody does not want to see you win and accomplish your dreams and your goals. There are people out there that are watching you. They're jealous of you. They're envious of you. So no, everybody's not going to agree with it. So I literally just made sure in those first few encounters or moments of me writing my book, I kept it just between me and God. And then eventually I started to, maybe tell my parents, or when I start working with people to get it done, to share them the vision as well in order for them to help me. But I honestly just kept it to myself for a while.
Now, let me ask you this question. Was there, like, throughout the process, even growing up in the
Mhm.
church and always following God, did you have to go through a pruning season? And if you did have to go through that pruning season, like, of course, some people that started with you, they can't continue on with you. And if you had to go through that pruning season, how do you handle that pruning season? Because there's some people you thought May was going to, be with you for the long haul, but then you had to lose some people. Because I know for me, when I lost some people, it hurt me. So if you had
Yeah.
to go through that pruning season, how did you handle it, and how do you go through that season, the season of pruning?
I did have to go through some pruning. There were some people I had to cut my connections with, because a lot of times that's why I say you really have to be careful of who you connect to, because some people can literally just be draining. They have an impact on you, your mental state. So you really have to just say, okay, I have to disconnect from this individual or these group of people or whatever the case may be. But I don't think it was just a season of me just maybe connecting from people, but it was for me. I felt like God was really dealing with me, saying, okay, we a lot of times we pray the prayer, God show me me. And that was really what God had to do. Say, because sometimes we'll start blaming other people, or no, it's not this, is that, and the third, or my fault, or I'm good on that. But then there are certain things, we all have flaws, but I always believe that there's improvement. So for me, I had to go through that season where God was showing me, like, this is some things you need to work on. You may not have handled it this way, so you need to work on better communication or how you're responding to certain situations. So it wasn't just a season of I'm cutting off automatically, but it was a season of, me growing, even not just as an author, but as a person. And I can say it was hard because it's hurtful to, see people that you care about as a person that's very generous, caring, loves people. You don't want to upset anybody or even offend people, but sometimes it's needed and necessary in order to get to your next season.
Oh, that was good right there. It's necessary to get to your neck. Oh, that was good to me. Now let me ask you this. Now, some people you had to disconnect. Now I always tell myself that you have to be weary of, like, I tell myself a lot that there are people that you are, when it comes to, when I realize that I have to disconnect, there's some people who you have to be patient with, and then there's
Mhm.
some people you have to totally disconnect with. Now, are there some people that you had to disconnect with, that, how sometimes you may feel like if you disconnect, you have to reconcile with that person?
Yeah.
And some people that you disconnected with that may have came back in your life, may have, because sometimes we are, sometimes we are the God that people see. Like, if they don't go to church, they see God in us. So you have to lead by example. So are there some people that you disconnected from that actually came back, that maybe have been inspired by your walk with God?
Yes, I've actually experienced that, where there were some people I kind of just, some people like I totally disconnect from, or some people I just say, okay, I need to kind of keep my space from. Like, I'm still communicating with you, but there's like this, I say, boundary that's
Yeah.
there. But like you said, there are people that see the light in you. So I have to remind myself that, Tierra, this may be the only light that people see. They may not see it from anybody else. So sometimes you still have to keep that line of communication open, so that way it may not be, oh, I'm hey buddy buddy with you, but that way you're still seeing the God that's in me, so that you can get what you need. Because everybody, I like to say, everybody isn't going in a physical church building. We as God's people are the light of the world. So if we are the light, then like I said, this is only for some people the light that they will ever see. So I did have to sometimes go back and say, okay, this person may have came back. It has to be for a reason. And I do believe that there's sometimes we are just put in people's lives for a reason. So I did go through as well.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about the book. Tell us about the more in depth about the book. Like I said, don't give away too many details because I want people to purchase the book. First of all, before you talk about the book, where exactly can they get the book?
You can go on Amazon.com and type in Conquer Fear by Faith to also purchase your book. I am also doing hand copies. When I first released it, I didn't really do like signed author copies, but if you do want a signed author copy from me that can be mailed to you, or if you do live in the Florence, South Carolina area and you want to purchase a copy, you can DM me here right on Facebook at Tierra Shaw, and I'll make sure that I'll get a book to you.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about the book.
Conquer Fear by Faith empowers individuals to let go of fear by applying faith in every area of their life. And I like to say, not just any kind of faith, because I believe in this season, there's a lot of things that's going on in this world. So you can't believe everything that you hear. You can't go for it all. Some of it is very deceiving, but to have faith in God, most importantly, and not just when we think about faith, we often think about the spiritual aspect, but that I like to say the spiritual corresponds with your natural life. So if you have faith in God and have a foundation and a relationship with Him spiritually, that can also be applied to your everyday life, whether if it's on your job, whether if you believe God in your finances, whatever it is that corresponds with your everyday life, that faith also applies to your natural everyday life as well. But it encourages individuals to stand amongst the crowd. I like to talk about comparison, not just because I went through it, but I do believe that sometimes fear causes us to be afraid to just be who we are. We look at other people. We are in a technology based world. We have Facebook, we have social media. So we will look and say, okay, I want to have what they have. I want to be like them. But I like to say, be true to who you are. So it encourages individuals to get out of that fear. Don't compare yourself to the next person, but realize who you are and who you are in Christ and be your authentic self. It encourages people to walk into their purpose. I like to tell people everybody on this earth has a God given purpose. God just does not have you here just for nothing and just to live life, but there is purpose in you. And so it encourages people to walk into their purpose. Sometimes it can be scary. It's like, well, I know what it is, or you may not even know what it is yet, but to really, once you really understand what your purpose is, to not run from it, but to just walk in it so that other people can be blessed by it. And then most importantly, just to be everything that God has called you to be. And that's just a little bit about it. I don't want to go into too many details, but
Yeah,
it's just
definitely.
really pushing people to get out of a state of fear and be everything that God has called you to be. Not just in, the church or on your job. Like, just be yourself. Be who God has called you to be, because fear is something that I believe that has a hold on to us. I always like to quote this scripture, 2 Timothy verse 1-7. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. The fear does not come from God. It's literally a trick of the enemy to just get you to be weighed down, tied down in these states of depression, in the state of anxiety, to just feel like, we'll speak to ourselves and be like, I'm not worth nothing and I can't do it. That's nothing but the enemy that's causing you to be afraid. But you literally have to let go of fear and start applying faith in your life, and you'll see a change. You'll see a change.
What do you say to that person that may be watching and their faith may be shaken? Like, you know how sometimes everything around you, all areas of your life
Mhm.
could be falling apart. And they feel as though faith, their faith is shaken. What do you say to that person that their work will be crumbling around them and their faith is shaken? What would you say to that person to encourage them to hold on to their faith and not give up with their faith?
I say believe again, because sometimes we feel like when things start going wrong that all hope is gone, like this is just it, this is the end. But I'll just say believe again, because the enemy wants us to just stop believing in God. He wants us to just feel like, oh, that's it. I'm going back to my old ways, my old habits. But I want you to believe again. Go back and grab hold to faith in God. Don't you give up. Don't you throw in the towel. You just start to believe again. Just believe again. You know, life happens, but it's the fact when I like to say that you don't have to stay in that state any longer, because I just believe that there's a way and escape, and it's through God. But you just have to believe again. You have to believe again and
Wow.
believe in yourself.
Wow, that's really, really, really good. Because there's so many people that they feel like there's no hope and they don't want to believe. But it's just simple. Just continue to believe. And
Mhm.
when you really, really, truly have a relationship with God, I've
Yeah,
learned this from my own personal experience. When you truly have a relationship with God, He truly does give you a peace
that's
that,
it.
yeah,
All
surpasses all
understanding.
understanding. And it's like there was before I was stronger in my faith, there would be time, well, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't want, but now
Mhm.
I'm just like, Lord, whatever your will is, let it be done.
That's it.
And I don't even worry about things like I used to. Like, there's times where I was
Mhm.
sleeping to get into a depression and worry about this, but now I'm just like, okay, God, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And he always works things out. I would hear people say, well, God's gonna make a way. I'm like, yeah, okay. But
Yeah,
now I'm seeing it. When you actually believe what you're saying, you put it in the atmosphere and truly believe again, he makes things happen for you. He makes things happen for you.
yeah,
And I'm actually going through the comments, and Veronica says that's the enemy's job, but we got to
yeah,
prove them wrong. This is
yeah,
good. And Belinda says believe again as well. And also Robin. I was trying to go through some of the comments as well. Cynthia says, yes, be true to thy own self. Be true to thy own self. Now, what do you say to people? Because you brought up, because like your generation, of course, y'all grew up
mhm,
on social media.
yeah,
What do you say when it comes to social media? Because of course, and another thing that you said also, there's also that comparison when
mhm,
we're scrolling through social media. You may
yep,
see this person, well, how they did this, or you know what I'm saying. How do you get out of that mindset of not comparing yourself? How do you get out of that mindset? And you may be thinking that I'm supposed to be further along than I am. And then
yeah,
you see someone else and you feel as if and this is the thing. And I this is one of the things that I have conversation with other people about as well. A lot of times you feel as though that you're following God. Like, God, I'm
mhm,
following you. I'm doing all the right things. But why does it seem that I have to struggle the most? And it seems like the ones that are not following God are living in this world and being of this world. Why does it appear that it seems like they're more blessed than I am?
well, I'll say first and foremost that I'm always reminded. First, I'm gonna talk about the comparison part first. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But when
Okay.
it comes to the comparison portion, even with social media, I learned at a young age that sometimes you literally have to disconnect. It's okay. It's very addictive. We'll scroll all day for hours and out of our day. But sometimes you literally have to disconnect. And so whether it's a week, whether it's just a portion of my day to say, okay, I'm shutting
Mhm.
Facebook down, I'm shutting
Mhm.
Snap, TikTok, I'm shutting all of that down,
Mhm.
because like I said, everything you see on these apps, everything is not, it's not good. It's not good. And even when it comes to comparison, it goes back to kind of having self-confidence and self-esteem. You really have to be confident in yourself. It's okay to take those moments, learn about yourself, learn what you like, learn what you dislike about yourself. But you should never compare yourself to somebody else, because I'm reminded that God made us all in his image. We're all unique. We're not all supposed to be the same individuals. We're all supposed to be different. So you literally just have to sometimes disconnect from social media. Get to know yourself. And I like to tell people, get to know yourself through Christ. The Bible tells us we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So you sometimes we have to go to his word and be reminded, okay, God tells me that I am chosen. God tells me if I'm a part of his, that I'm a part of a royal priesthood. Those things really remind me. And I had to take those things to remind myself that, okay, why am I looking at the next person if this is who God has told me that I am? So that's just a little tip for that. What was the second question you was telling me about? in the
Okay,
second part.
I was saying how the comparison, you pretty much answered it, the comparison part, but you know how sometimes we feel as though, okay, like you as a follower of God,
Right.
it seems like we struggle the most, and it seems like those that are in the world and other world, it appears that they're doing a whole lot better than we are. And like, God, I'm doing your word, I'm following, I'm being obedient, doing
Right.
what you're telling me to do. But why does it seem like I got to struggle here, or it takes me, I got to struggle to get to this, but it seems like the ones that living in the world, it comes easy to them. Because this is a conversation
Mhm.
I have it a lot of times with other people that I speak to. I'm like, why
Mhm.
it seem like, and I'm like, it's not like that. It's probably you are making that
Mhm.
comparison, but it does seem like that way sometimes, that we're following Christ and being obedient and
Yeah.
doing the right thing, but it seems like those of the world are being more blessed. That's what it appears sometimes. It looks
Mhm.
that way sometimes. So that was the other thing I want to touch on, because I hear a lot of people that talk to me about that, and I listen and let them say what
Mhm.
they need to say, but they just feel like sometimes people of the world are doing so much better than they are. Why I gotta struggle? God, why I got to go through this when I'm following you? So I don't know.
I'm sorry. I thought I
Oh, you
lost.
fine.
But I'm always reminded when it comes to that, because I feel like I have had that moment too, where you see everybody else being blessed and getting things that you may have been praying, believing God for, and it's like, well, when is my time coming? But I like to be reminded that, and we hear it often, and sometimes I feel like we just be tired of hearing it, but God's timing is not our timing. But I also believe in those times, in those spaces while we are praying God for a blessing or whatever we are believing God's for, that sometimes God literally has to take us to a process. Because sometimes I even think about myself, okay, I asked for this, God, but if I got this in earlier stages of my life, I would not have been ready for it. I would have mishandled what you were trying to bless me with. So sometimes we take those, I won't say struggles, but we take those
Mhm.
moments of maybe isolation, or where it may have just not happened yet, for granted. But I understand that I feel like some of that is a part of a preparation season. Like I said, so when you do get the blessing, when God does bless you, that you don't mishandle it. But I mean, the world is blessed, but we as God people are blessed. I
Mm.
never look at it. I never look at it as, oh, everybody in the world is getting this and that. But me as God's chosen, me being an inheritance to His kingdom, I'm blessed. Every day that I wake up, I inhale and I exhale. That's a blessing all by itself. Somebody didn't make it to see another day. Somebody can't get up and walk, go to work. So every day is a blessing, in spite of maybe that bigger blessing that you're believing God for. Count every day, count it all joy, count every day as a blessing, because even still yet, the very blessing that you're believing and praying God for is still on the way, but it's going to happen in His time and His will.
That part is going to happen in His timing, not our timing. And I think that's where we make the mistake, and me included. I made that mistake
Hmm.
of wanting things to happen overnight, when it's a process. We have to endure the process. I'm like, but when is this going to happen? But now the patience, I'm seeing that things that I didn't think would happen, they're starting to happen, and now God is starting to really blow my mind. So
Hmm.
it's really about His timing. And so I'm actually going to go through some of the comment. And Robin says, "Say so, God's timing."
Yeah.
So, and like I said, and people have to realize when it comes to, and like you said, I myself, I disconnect from social media a lot.
Hmm.
And it is necessary, because when you because I don't want to I never try to get caught up in the comparison thing.
Right.
But I tell people all the time that they look at, well, this is, and when it comes to social media, people are going to show you what they want you to see.
Yep.
Because I actually I came across a post where there was a young lady, and she was talking about, she had on the designer shoes, she
Hmm.
had the car, and come to find out, she admitted, she said, well, I want to present this image of
Hmm.
what I want the world to see. But
Yeah.
I took the picture, I bought the shoes, I took the picture with the car was rented, and the shoes and the clothes she ended up taking back. She's like, I really didn't have it, but I want to please people and
Yep.
present this image that I did this. And I'm like, people are going that far to please
Mhm.
people, that and get validation from people that you really don't even know. I was like, wow. So you cannot believe everything that you see on social media. A lot of people just put it on the facade, and to be honest with you, a lot of people forget like that you act that you know them in real life. Like you putting this on social media, but I know for sure it's not like that for real. So that's what a
Right.
lot of I want people to stop doing, to make the comparison, because people are going to show you what they want you to see, and also they're going to show you what they, because they're trying to put on an image, and a lot of times
Yeah.
it's not even where it is. It's not even like that. And Veronica says, if we don't go through anything, we'll never truly know
That's
how important God is to us, and be able to help someone believe that God is able and that he can do anything but fail.
yeah.
Cynthia says, Facebook equals fake book.
Facebook.
And Kendra says, facts. And Kendra, thank you so much for
Thank
making this connection.
you.
Because listen, I would not have met her had I not came to your grand opening. So Kendra,
Yes.
thank you. I wish you all the success in
Thank
the world.
you.
You see, you are connecting some people that I wouldn't normally meet. Because if
Yeah.
I hadn't came to open house, I would not have met her. And it's such a
Me
pleasure.
neither.
And I
Me
was
neither.
like, as a matter of fact, and shout out to Cece as well,
Yeah.
keeping up with C, because she was actually doing some footage. And I was like, when she was interviewing you and I
Yeah.
heard you speak, I was like, oh my God, this girl is amazing. I was like, I gotta have her on the podcast. And here you are. Here you
Thank
are.
you.
And when I asked you, you didn't hesitate to come. So I wish you all the best as well. And I want to encourage you guys to get the book,
Yes, ma'am. Y'all go
Conquer
get it.
Fear by Faith. And you actually just released it. What, last week? Was it just released?
Last Saturday. I just released it. And it's flying, y'all. I'm going to tell you, and I'm not saying it to boast, but people are supporting. And I truly, really thank God, most importantly. But I thank each and every one of you, whether you got the book now or you're gonna get it later, for your support, because God is really doing it. He's doing it. And I'm thankful and grateful for it.
That is awesome. And Kendra said, it's not about me. It's all about God setting up his. But I'm telling you, you were the
Yeah.
vessel, because I'm telling you, I was like, I gotta go, because I'm huge on. You'll know this about me. I'm huge on making sure I'm there to support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm big on that, because we have, all of us can win. There's
That's
no
right.
need. There's no need for any of us to dim anybody light, because we all is room for everybody to shine. So I'm a believer that I like to see everybody win. So anytime I can make myself available to support someone, do whatever I can, whether it's using my platform, whether it's sharing a post, whatever I can do to support people, I'm going to do it. And
That's
here's the thing: when I support people, I do it from a genuine place, because I genuinely want to see you win. I genuinely want to see you win. So we're gonna make these books. God has already blessed you, but we're gonna make the books move even more. So make
okay.
sure you guys support her, because she's doing some great things. And let me ask you this: do you have any plans of possibly writing some more book?
I've been told, people been telling me there's more books in you, but I believe there will be another book. When, I don't know when. I'll definitely, as always, be led by God. But there's some more books to come. There's more that God has in store. But y'all stay connected to me, because there's some more things that's going to be happening, and I'm just super excited about it.
Oh my goodness. And like I said, we're actually, of course, the month of March is Women's History Month. What better way to start the month out with Miss Shaw? Like, you got to kick listen. I got to step my game up. Like, who's coming next? But I want to honor some amazing women for the month of March. And you've actually jump started the month of March for celebrate. You're my first guest for the month of March. So you have really jump started the month of March for Women's History Month. So listen, and like I said, the blessings, like God, you said God is already showing up and showing out. So just imagine this is only the beginning. It's going to get even better. So tell everyone again where they can purchase the book, and also they can contact you if they want to. Matter of fact, I got to probably meet up with you, because I'm looking through my book, ma'am. I don't see that my book is fine. I need me an autograph, because when you become on that bestseller, New York Times bestseller, I'm like, I want to be like, I know her. So I'm gonna
I
need your
got you.
signature, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We can meet. I promise you. I'll get it for you.
But tell us again where they can purchase the book, and also how to connect with you if they want to get a signed copy.
Once again, the book is called Conquer Fear by Faith. You can purchase it at Amazon.com by typing in Conquer Fear by Faith. Also, if you want a signed author's copy, you can DM me right here on Facebook at my name, which is Tierra Shaw. Um, I got a little sidetracked, y'all. Oh, also, if you're in the Florence, South Carolina area, I'm sorry, and you want to purchase a copy of my book, you can also reach out to me. Other ways that you can stay connected to me is right here through my Facebook page. That's most of my motivational content is on my personal page, but I do also have a group that's called the Motivational Community Group right here on Facebook, where I also post some of my lives and maybe some other content that you may not see on my regular page. So if you do want to join that group, it's called the Motivational Community Group right here on Facebook, and you'll just send an invite and I'll accept you. And that's the ways you guys can connect with me.
Okay, sounds good. And that was what was Kendra was talking about, the motivation page. And actually,
Yeah.
you guys go over to her page and watch her lives. Her lives are very inspirational, because I'm telling you, I was like, wait a minute. And I'm like I said, when I was your age, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I was not that focused on Jesus. I was not. I was not. But I'm here now. It's not about how you start, it's how you
You
end. So I'm here
finish.
now. But I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, I was not that focused on Jesus when I was your age. So I am so very proud of you, and I'm so happy
You.
to have made this connection. So I want you guys
Yeah.
to make sure you support her. Go out and get the book, and it's called Conquer Fear by Faith. I hope can you guys see it? I'm trying to make sure I'm showing it good. Make sure you get this book. And like I said, the book is amazing. I've actually, because I'm an avid reader, so
Mhm.
it didn't take me long to read the book. So I'm encouraging you guys to definitely to get the book. And it is a very good book. So I'm encouraging you guys to get. And Tiara, thank you so much for kicking off my Women's History Month.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You started it off right now. What are some final words that hold on, Kendra says your Instagram to what's your Instagram?
I don't be remember my socials. I hope that's not bad, but I believe my Instagram. Okay, if y'all give me 1 second, I'm sorry. I don't be. That's sad. I'm young, but I don't be
See,
remembering.
here's the thing: when you get on these platforms, and make sure you have even if you got to
Yeah,
write it down, make sure you have all your social media platforms so people can get in contact, because not everybody is on Facebook. A lot of people are straying away from Facebook, because I'm only on Facebook for business purposes only.
right.
And when I do my podcast, but Cynthia says, yes, congratulations, and praying many, many blessings over this amazing young lady. I'm telling you, you
Thank
are so wise beyond your years. You are
thank
so
God.
wise. There's some that are my age that doesn't have the wisdom that you have. So continue to stay on the path that you're on, and don't let anyone or anything distract you on your path, because you're on an amazing path. And like I said, I've just met you, but I'm very, very proud of you. I'm proud of what God is going to be doing in your life. Just to continue to do the work, and stay focused, because you're very focused, and I love that, because so many times as young people, and even as people my age, I'm in my late 40s, and sometimes we can go to the left as well. But
Right.
like you said earlier, we have to have the right people in our life to keep us focused, keep us on the right path, and make sure we stay in the word. And we have to be, those of us that are children of God and chosen by God, we have to be a reflection of God, so that people that don't go to church, or however
Right.
you want people to see the God in you. And that
Yeah.
makes a difference. That makes a difference, because I have people tell me, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, but I have people tell me, like, Tori, you inspire me. I'm like, really? What did I do? What did I say?
Yeah.
Like, I see your light, and it makes a difference. People can tell when you're coming from a genuine and pure
Place.
place.
Hmm.
So continue, you, because I'm telling you, that day when I came to the grand opening, you exuded lights. You're a ray of light. So that's why I was like, I gotta have her on the podcast. And I'm so excited that you accepted the invitation, and thank you so much for kicking off my
Thank
Women's
you.
History Month. Now, let me ask you this before we end the podcast, and once we end, I want to speak to you off the air a few minutes, but I
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
ask you this question: what are some final words that you want to leave with people that are watching before we end the pod? What are some, well, maybe be a word of encouragement or whatever it is that God placed on your heart? What are some final words that you have before we end the podcast? Let me see what Kendra says. She says she is carrying us into the promised land. Oh, yes, she is. Yes, she is. What are some final words that you would like to leave with everyone?
So this is something that I kind of share on my TikTok, and I meant to go live about it, but since I do have the space and the opportunity, I do want to say that God is doing it in this season. I know we kind of just talked about fear, faith, and blessings, but it's not just because of me and my book and me literally seeing through this what I prayed for. Because during this whole process, is I prayed, okay, God, for me, we talk about finances and money, but I know this is my purpose. So for me, this was me saying, God, I want to reach souls. I want to do something that's going to change people's lives where they can read it and they can just see, okay, there's something different about her. I want to know about Jesus. Who is this person that she's talking about? But I do want to encourage you guys, everyone that's up here, anybody that's going to rewatch this, that God is doing it in this season. I don't know if it's just me, but I truly believe that God is moving quickly. He's doing it just like that. That's why I'm, not just about fear, but why I'm really encouraging each and every one of you all to have faith in God. Because when you trust in Him and when you believe in Him, on top of what you're praying for and what you're believing God for, it's going to happen. But you just have to get away from distractions. You can't be deceived in this season. Do not be moved in this season because there's so much around us that will try to draw our attention away from God. But I need you to be focused on Him, because when you have your eyes towards Him, you'll be able to see what God is calling you to, even in this season. But I just believe that God is doing it. So be in expectation. I know sometimes we be tired of praying like, God, I done prayed about this for the fifth, sixth, seventh, and 100th time. But I believe God is showing up and He is showing out for His people. But you just have to continue to hold on to faith and trust and believe in God. But not only that, I literally am starting to realize the importance of obedience, because I just believe that it's not just because we believe in God, because we're praying to Him and we have faith in Him, but it's according to your obedience. So for me, like when you're walking in purpose, when God is telling you to do something, I had to get out of the fact of just doing, like you said, people pleasing,
Mm-hmm.
because we'll literally just do things to please people. But I believe in this season that God is not just acting according to what we're praying and believing for, but according to our act of obedience. So if God is laying something on your heart, if He's telling you to do something, telling you to say something, you do it. There may not be many people that's going to support you. There are going to be some people that's going to talk about you, but I'm always reminded they did the same thing to Jesus in the Bible. They talked about Him, they hated Him, they lied on Him, they treated Him unfairly. So there are going to be people in your life that may treat you the same way, but you just got to understand that if God told me to do it, I'm going to listen to His voice, because He's not just acting according to our words and what we're believing for, but even for our obedience. So just understand, just keep holding on and know that God is doing it in this season. He's going to work it out for you. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what you're facing. Sometimes we feel like we've hit rock bottom. We've hit the end of the rope. But I need you to hold on to faith, have hope. Like I said, believe again, because God is doing it for you in this season.
Girl, do you realize how much you done blessed me today? Listen, you blessed. Oh my God, you blessed me. And Shawnee said, "Yes, ma'am. Listen to his voice." Oh my
Yeah.
God, you have. Oh, listen, I'm gonna have to have you come back. Now, this is how you start out Women's History Month. Listen, oh my God. Let me go through some of the comments right quick. Oh my goodness. That was good. Listen, bless Kendra says, bless my whole soul. Kendra says, we say that's absolutely
Yeah.
reset. Oh my God. Oh my good. This was good to me. Listen, Veronica says, my. Awesome words of encouragement. Listen, Mic drop. So make sure you guys, make sure you please support her. Get her book, Conquer Fear by Faith. And if you're in the Florence, South Carolina area, she said you can inbox her and you can get a signed copy. Trust and believe, I'm gonna meet you somewhere in Florence so I can get my signed
Okay.
copy. Because listen, when you're on the New York Times bestseller list, I want to say, listen, I know her. I know her personally, and here is my signed copy. So listen, we gonna get it. I'm gonna get it the sign, and then let me see. Miss Gibson, because your first name, I do not want to butcher your first name. That's a beautiful name, but I don't want to mess it up. Miss
It's
Gibson is black.
Antonasha.
How is it pronounced?
It's Antonasha.
Oh, that's pretty. I like
Mhm.
that name. And she said, "Great book, halfway through. Isn't it an amazing book? I'm
Mhm.
telling you, the book is so good. So make sure you guys get it. And like I said, I'm actually going to be sharing her post, and I'm actually going to be talking about the book more because, like I said, I want to see everybody win, and there's room for all of us to win.
Yes.
There's no need for us to dim anybody's light because there's room for
Mhm.
everybody. And as long as we're following God,
Yeah.
nobody can take what God has for you. Can't nobody block it. But the
That's
like
it.
Tierra says, the key is to getting what God has for you. You got to be obedient. You
Obedient.
got to
Mhm.
listen to his voice. You got to remain focused. You got to dominate your distractions. And so what if you lose some people along the way? Understand that not everybody is destined to go with you. Some
Yeah.
journeys, in some places, you're gonna have to go by yourself. And just like I was telling someone earlier, a lot of times there are going to be some invites that you may get to certain places, certain things. Understand that every invite that you get does not mean you have to accept that invite. Because there's some places that you can't go. There's some places,
Yeah.
there's some things you can't do no more when you follow in Christ. Because I'm telling you, at your age, I was not completely there. And like I said, I am so very proud of you.
Oh,
You are
thank
such an
you.
not only are you an inspiration to your generation, but you're an inspiration to me. Because listen, we should always be and each day that God gives us to wake up, we should
Yes.
always constantly learn. So I don't say, well, this person is young or this. I can learn from anyone, and I'm a constant learner. So I'm learning and I'm taking in everything that you said. Like I said, you bless me. You bless me. And like I said, you have so much wisdom at such a young age. I wish that I was there when I was your age, but I wasn't. I wasn't. But you're there, and I'm very super proud. So you already know there's so many doors that are
Mhm.
going to fly open for you. And like I said, this is just the beginning. So just continue to stay focused and do what you're doing, and just keep living for God and spreading God's word, because
Yeah.
let me tell you something, he makes a way out of nowhere.
Yes, he will.
When we think we can't make it, he makes a way. And I'm gonna go through a couple more comments. I think she said thank you for her name. When I said her name was beautiful. And she said, can you ask one question? Yes, you can ask the question. Ask the question, please. I'm gonna wait to before I sign off. Let me wait till she asks her question.
Now I do have my socials, y'all. I'm sorry, I was kind of late, but so you can, while she's asking her question, you can
Okay.
follow me here on Facebook at Tierra Shaw. I
Mhm,
do have the motivational community group, which is also a part of Facebook as well. I
mhm.
have Instagram. You can follow me there at uniquely.tierra underscore. That's uniquely.tierra underscore. That's for my Instagram. And for I do so also have a TikTok page where I also post motivational content. That's at unique underscore Tierra dot S. And that's on TikTok. That's unique underscore Tierra dot S. And that's how you guys can stay connected with me.
Okay, and let me put her question on screen. She say, how do you get past yourself things that is between you and God like a wall?
That's a good question. How do you get past yourself things that is between you and God like a wall? So I'm guessing that's in the sense because your last name because like a wall. I'll just say because that is true. I didn't really talk about that. But
This is
sometimes,
the other part of her comment. Like, the call on your life, but like yourself is in a way like insecurities, or you feel you don't qualify
good.
for it.
That's good. Because I've actually, and not just because you asked that question, but I've actually encountered, I'll say more so even like young people where they feel like because of mistakes I've made and knowing that God is calling them, that they feel like because of my past or whatever the situation may be, that, I can't do it. Like God won't use me. But I'll just say that if because we're all called to something in this world, we all have a purpose. But if you know that you have a call in your life and you yourself is getting away, I'll say you have to sometimes even remove self out the way. And I know that's kind of hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it's true. Sometimes I like to say, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We will speak negativity in our mouths. We will start doubting and all this negativity. And so we ourselves get in the way of what God wants to do because we're talking down ourselves. We saying, oh, I can't do it. We are hard on ourselves. I'll say even because sometimes it's not just fear, it's a point of forgiving because we will hold and blame ourselves to some things that are happening in our life that will stop us from moving forward because we just have not took the time to say, you know what, I may have forgiven them, but I need to sit here and forgive self. I have to forgive me because we'll hold on to stuff and then we're wondering like, oh, I thought I was over it and that was it. But sometimes we just have to take that time and say, you know what, I'm sorry to me, because even in forgiving, even in letting go, it's freedom. It's freeing. So I'll just say like it kind of goes back to what I said. Just know who you are in God. We all have flaws. We all have insecurities, but don't hold yourself to maybe what you went through, whether it's your past mistakes, whatever it is. Don't hold that to yourself to feel like God can't use me. Because
Right.
I like to remind people, He will clean you up and make you whole and use you.
Right.
In
Right.
the midst of it all, you can still be used by God, but you just have to understand who you are in Him.
Right.
Even getting away from yourself to say, you know what, I'm not even going to let me get in the way from being who God has called me to be. Not just people, but me.
Mm, that's good. That's good. And she
So
said,
be reminded who you are in God.
mm-hmm. And
And
I'm just going.
sometimes speak, we a lot of times we talk about affirmations, but sometimes we have to. I had a phase where I had to look at myself in the mirror and remind myself of who I am, instead of speaking all this negativity on in all this doubt, to remind myself I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
I am
Yeah.
more than a conqueror. I
Yeah.
can make it. You sometimes you have to do that because you yourself will literally sometimes just cause your own self to sink down. But
Right.
it kind of goes back to what I said. Be reminded of who you are in Christ. Don't hold your past. Don't hold what people say. I like to say, give that all to God. Let that thing go and give it to God.
Right.
Because God will reassure you. God will affirm you. And it's
Mm,
something in my book. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because I want to say it earlier. Don't seek validation from man when you're already validated by God.
mm, that part. Woo! And
Don't
that's
look.
and that's all we gonna say. We want them to get the book.
Yeah.
Get the book.
Don't look for other people and please other people and think, okay, I want to be accepted by them. Because if you're called by God and you're living for God, people are not going to like you. But you got to understand, even already through God's word, you're already validated in Him through Christ.
Amen. 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 That was good. That was good. If you guys missed the beginning, make sure you go back and watch the replay. And make sure you support Tierra and purchase her book. And it's called Conquer Fear by Faith. Make sure you check her out. And we're going to wrap it up. I thank you guys for watching. Tiara, thank you so much for kicking off my
Thank
week.
you. Thank
This
you.
was amazing. This was good. This was really good. So you guys, if you missed the beginning, make sure you go back and watch the replay. But I'm going to talk to Tiara a little bit off the line. But thank you guys for watching. And like I
Thank
always end
you.
each podcast, We go through this thing called life, but whatever you go through in this thing called life, you may bend, but don't you dare break. And always remember to keep the faith. We're out. You guys have a blessed evening. Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday, and make sure you share this podcast and buy her book. We're out. Peace.
Thank y'all. Bye.